My name's Aaron. Welcome back to my channel. How are you? I'm fantastic and I'm doing really well. This second part of the Parfums Haltane, I'm going to be comparing it for Oud For Greatness. And Initio, I believe, is the sister company to Parfums de Marly. So we're going to put on the video below the prices of Haltane, and we're going to put the price of Oud For Greatness. Now, I remember reviewing this years ago, and this video went on and on. I kept smelling it and smelling it and smelling it, and I really liked it. And I have not, this is a new bottle, and I haven't smelt it since. I'm going to be using my memory for it. So I'm going to apply the Haltane to one side and the Oud For Greatness on the other. You can smell sort of the praline actually in it, sort of a sweetness to it. So I'll show you the atomizer on this one. It's the same. I think it may be sort of the same. So I remember this being strong. And when I tested this, in my opinion, it didn't feel as strong. It didn't feel sort of so, I don't know, it just didn't feel the same. It didn't have that. I remember sort of being really inspired by it. And I remember feeling really like, oh my God, that's really strong. And on me, it doesn't feel as, it's not giving me that ooh la la sensation. The same thing. It smells the same, but it sort of doesn't smell as like a wall. Please leave your comments below if you've had the same experience for Oud For Greatness. I know that they've just been brought out as a house. So I don't know, maybe something's going on. I have no idea, but please leave your comments below. I'd be really, really interested to know what you think. There is undoubtedly a similarity between the two fragrances, and that is because the building blocks are really similar, but there is a difference. So to me, in the Parfums de Marly, in the Haltane, that has more citrus. It's much more musk heavy. It has much more sort of like interest to it. It's a much more complex perfume, but the core is undoubtedly similar to this fragrance. As the citrus, as the bergamot and all of that comes off, they start to become, I would say, cousins, really, really close cousins at a barbecue. The oak moss raw materials are much higher in this formula. And in formulas, when you're dealing with powders, they can act as a fixative. And so sometimes you don't need fixatives, and you don't need must to sort of fix your fragrance. Sometimes you just can use these powders, and that takes a lot of skill. The praline note in this is sort of more apparent, but the citruses are volatile and they just come off really. So Oud For Greatness has a much more sort of leathery quality to it. It has much more of a oud-like quality to it. So it's much more sort of leathery, saffron, oak moss, sort of in your face. And it doesn't have that Parfums de Marly's cleanness as the backbone. This is much more sweeter and sort of slightly softer. But the Oud For Greatness is sort of slightly stronger. And that's because when you're formulating, sometimes with citruses, because you're taking the space up in the formula, let's say we take it to 100, and the citruses are a third. If you take away that third and you add more of the aroma chemicals, you're going to have a stronger smelling fragrance than always. But sometimes with citruses, that's what you get. And when you have a lot of citruses in it, they're so volatile, and you can become absolutely nose blind to bergamot and lemon and all that sort of stuff. Human beings become completely anosmic to sort of citruses. That's why the backbone needs to be really sort of where the work is done. But there is like a, as I said, sort of like they smell like cousins. They don't smell like a dupe. They don't smell exactly the same, but it smells like cousins. And to me, and we're really honest, the reason why I marked the Haltane the 9 out of 10 was simply because it smells like they've thought, okay, Oud For Greatness really works. This is my opinion, of course. So it's Oud For Greatness is really like massive seller. It's done really well. We're going to take the DNA and we're going to see what we can do with it. That's kind of why I took the mark off. If there was lots of ouds within Parfums de Marly, you know, that'd be fine, but this is their only oud. So that's kind of why I'd love to have had something different to their sister company doing the Oud For Greatness. Does that kind of make sense? I hope that sort of makes sense in sort of my rational sort of thinking. But I think they're really, really super fantastico fragrances. I think they're both really, really lovely. I think they're both unbelievably wearable ouds, and I love them both. And as I said, I was really inspired. And for a while, I was looking at sort of the structure, and I was sort of thinking if I wanted to do something with the structure myself, and I kind of didn't. But I may in the future. I mean, God knows. I mean, a year from now, I'm going to be a completely different person. In 2 years from now, I may be a completely different person. I may, I don't know, do my own thing with it. I do really, really love it. That amount of oak moss and ambroxan and ethyl malt whipping for the base, I think is a really beautiful smelling combination. For me personally, I think they're both dead on the same, but the citruses and sort of the praline note and sort of the musk accord within the Haltane, I really love, and it smells very eloquent. And the Oud For Greatness is just giving you that full throttle, slightly saffron, leathery, oak moss sort of thing. So for me, Oud For Greatness feels like the more rock cousin coming to the barbecue with a leather jacket on, who's been out drinking the night before. And the Haltane is more eloquent cousin coming, you know, dressed up. Certainly wouldn't do anything like that, well, that you wouldn't know. But they are like cousins. I don't think they're a dupe, but I both think they're really, really great. So if you loved that video, thumbs up and subscribe for fascinating, interesting content, lots of moving hands, and lots of fragrance views. Always stay safe and well. See you soon.